Hi everyone, so welcome to the channel, another academic video. This week it's all about collaborations, the good, the bad, I was going to say the ugly, but mainly the good and the bad or difficult points of working in an academic collaboration. I am a UK-based physics lecturer. And within academia, it's very typical to, as an individual researcher, work in a variety of collaborations over the course of your career. Now, these collaborations are going to vary depending on your research interest, the specific nature of the topic that you're studying, and also the point you are in your career, whether you're starting as a PhD researcher or whether you're an established professor. Now, as a scientist, collaborations are crucial, I think, in order to move forward scientific knowledge and understanding. You know, there is something absolutely brilliant about working with other passionate academics, passionate individuals who bring fresh thoughts, new insights, different skill sets and directions to tackling research questions. So fundamentally, collaborations are, in my opinion, a really, really good thing. However, there's always going to be good and maybe not so good points to working in a collaboration. So I just thought I'd share from my experiences some of the points associated with collaborative working. One thing then that's really good, and it's just fundamentally good about collaborations, is that you get different expertise, you get different skill sets, you can share money, you can share resources, time, you can share equipment. It's a really good way of pooling together more than an individual can provide for one particular project. And as a new researcher, so as a PhD researcher, a postdoc, a lecturer, it's also really advantageous to be able to work alongside more established academic colleagues. You know, when I'm applying for research funding or for grants to fund the research, actually if I apply as part of a group, so alongside a couple of professors who are very established in that area, it can help with the credibility of the application, and fundamentally it can help us win the money to be able to do the research project. So I think it's useful right at the outset, to think about the types of party within your collaboration. I do a lot of academic industry combined collaborations, and we have slightly different, I guess, interests or goals with the project. An industry collaborator may be looking for a very specific thing to be made or created or designed for them to be able to use within their company. As an academic, I'll obviously be looking to do that, but also I might have other goals, like I might be wanting to make sure there's enough research there for a PhD student to secure their thesis and their viva. So understanding the different parties within the collaboration can go a long way, I think, to understanding what everybody's looking to get out of that working relationship. And that's important because it's important to know the roles of everybody. Are different people going to be looking at different parts of the research? Are maybe one group of researchers going to be analysing one data set and another group analysing a different data set? Is there one particular group of researchers who will do measurements on a piece of equipment and then share their data with another group of researchers in the collaboration who will do theory or modelling work? Understanding everybody's role, how they all fit together, and importantly, making sure that you know who the PI is. So that's the principal investigator for the project. And they're ultimately the one who's won the funding, they've led the bid, and so they're kind of heading up the research group. It's useful, obviously, up front as well to understand how the money's divided. So if you've won a big pot of money to support this research, how is it being divided between the collaborating members? You know, is some money going to one part of the industry and other money going to an academic? You know, understanding those divisions is quite useful. And then setting a bit of a timeline, you know, knowing how long the project is going to last for, what are those key objectives, what are the metrics that will let you know if the project's been successful? And that can be really hard in some areas of research. You know, if you're researching something new for the first time, it can be really hard to put a timeline on that research, because until you start exploring a topic, you don't quite know how it's going to lead or pan out. But at the same time, if you've got collaborating members from different groups, different universities, different organisations, it's useful for everyone to be on the same page with the direction of travel and the key outputs that are hoped for or expected or being aimed at within that collaborating group. I think another thing you can do to stop having, just another thing you can do to ease the communication lines is just to look at how people do want to communicate within the project. You know, I've had projects where I've been based in the UK, so I'm on the UK time zone, but I've got collaborating partners who are in a completely different time zone. And so you have to work out the right point in the day in order to make those phone calls, you know, to have those Zoom chats where you can see each other. Sometimes email is just easier because I can send an email in my time zone and then my collaborating partners can pick it up in their time zone. So yeah, think about the communication styles and actually understanding your communication style. You know, how do you communicate and how do you come across in emails? Emails can be such a minefield. You can think you're being really chirpy and happy, and it can be read in a very different way by somebody else. So yeah, knowing those preferences and those styles, I think can help to prevent conflict when you're then up and running with your collaboration. I think quite often as collaborators, we become friends. You know, if I'm working closely with other scientists on a particular project, you know, friendships form and you do become friends. But I think just having a basic good working relationship is such an important starting point. And it's, you know, it's not going to be perfect with everybody. And sometimes you may think on paper that's going to be a great collaboration between those two groups or those two institutions. But actually maybe the people in those institutions just work in different ways, or they have a different focus that's putting them to go in a different direction of travel, which means actually it's not going to be a successful collaboration. So yeah, personality and personality of the researchers does play an important role in the kind of the collaborative output and actually enjoying the collaboration. You know, there's nothing worse than working in a collaboration that you just don't get on with. You know, we've all done that group work. Maybe at university you did a group work project and one member didn't pull their weight, or you felt like one member wasn't contributing, or you didn't get on with one team member. And the same is true when you go through and you're working and you're a university researcher or a lecturer or a professor and you're collaborating with other professors. You know, we all have different personality traits, ways of working, and just because we share the same research area doesn't mean we're going to necessarily form effective collaborations. And with that, I guess finally it's what do you do then if you are in a collaboration and it isn't working? And now sometimes you're going to just sit it out. You know, sometimes for whatever reason you'll just say, okay, the project's due to end soon, or I can get to the end point and I'm just going to ride that collaboration out, but I probably wouldn't work with that team of researchers again. Sometimes you have to, you know, if you're doing an industry project or maybe you're doing PhD research, sometimes you just need to see that collaboration out. Sometimes you can exit maybe early, so you can do your part of the work and then maybe leave. Sometimes when things go dreadfully wrong, you may just need to leave a collaboration early. That can be quite tricky because you might have put lots of work in, and you need to make sure that you're still going to get your paper credits, your publications, the journal outputs, if you've invested a lot of time into something. And I guess then to try to avoid that situation, that's where all this legwork up front is really necessary, the understanding interests, motivations, communication styles, because you're just doing your very best to try to make sure that it's a good collaboration rather than one that doesn't have the best outcomes. But yeah, let me know, are you working in a collaboration right now? Is it really good? Are you enjoying it? Have you had difficult collaborating partners for whatever reason and had to maybe escape or change that collaboration? Let me know in the comments. Always love reading the comments. So yeah, tell me your collaboration stories, the good and the bad. And in the meantime, have a really good week. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.